Well, in the US, Super Tuesday is fast approaching. This is when 16 states go to the polls to decide their candidate. We know that Nikki Haley is still hanging on. Joining me live is former White House Chief of Staff and now Bondi Partners consultant Mick Mulvaney. Mick, why? Why is she hanging on?
Well, she's hanging on. We're not really sure. By the way, it's good to see you again, as always. We're not really sure why she's hanging on. In fact, she just today, it's Sunday here in the U.S. as I chat to you, and this morning we have all of our news programs, and she was on TV this morning saying that now, despite the fact she had said previously she would support Donald Trump if Donald Trump became the nominee, she says she doesn't consider herself bound by that pledge. So the fissure, the divisions within the Republican Party is getting deeper as this primary goes on. A lot more folks are wondering when she's going to withdraw. She doesn't expect to win any states on Tuesday of the 16 that are up for election. So it's getting very close, Laura, to where folks, even who support her, are scratching her head and wondering why she's still here.
Why are they? I mean, this is all down to money, right? And she's still getting, some hefty sums going her way.
She's raising a good bit of money, not as much as she used to. She's had some major donors back out. She's had some major foundations back out, folks that were helping her with volunteers, grassroots activities, stuff that's very important to candidates, have pulled out from supporting her in the last couple of days. So it's really unclear. I guess the only theory I've heard, Laura, that makes any sense to me is that if Donald Trump gets convicted and ends up in jail, Nikki Haley thinks she might be the Republican nominee. I don't see it. Nobody else seems to see it, but apparently Nikki does.
And even if Donald Trump went to jail, he could still be president and he could still be the nominee, couldn't he?
Yeah, let's be clear again. Under our system, you can run from jail, you can win from jail, and we think you could even serve from jail. It sounds outrageous. It's actually happened. It's happened a couple of times with members of Congress. There's actually been House members who have run from jail in the past. So, yeah, we didn't think we'd be having this conversation just a couple of years ago, but here we are.
Yeah, right. So where are the Democrats looking at this all playing out at the moment and not panicking that they are just going to be following Joe Biden off a cliff to defeat?
Yeah, I was with a very high-ranking Democrat this week, by the way, at the National Rugby League visit to Las Vegas.
Oh, good. You were there.
Together a group of folks to talk about politics, and I was there with a high-ranking Democrat who said that he's a former head of the National Party, that they intend to stay with Joe Biden all the way to the end. They still think he has a chance to win. I think that's fair. I think that's right. I think any other Democrat would have a better chance to win. It's a 50-50 race, Laura. Keep in mind, the only person who could beat Donald Trump is Donald Trump, but Donald Trump is still in the race. So that means Joe Biden could, in theory, win.
Wow.
So I think that's what Democrats are banking on right now, is that Trump just implodes between now and November.
Yeah, okay, maybe. But I remember back in the midterms when we were talking about how it was such a poor showing for Donald Trump. Everyone was writing him off. And here we are. There's a poll out today that says most Democrats now think that Joe Biden is too old and doesn't have it anymore.
We get polling here all the time, and I've talked about how unimportant polling is because most of them are national polls, and we don't elect presidents here nationally. We do it state by state.
Yeah.
But there was a big New York Times poll out over the weekend that got down into some detail about how Donald Trump is actually doing better now than Joe Biden with Hispanic voters and with African-American voters. If Joe Biden is going to lose those types of voters going into November, it's a very difficult road for him to win. So the Democrats are not panicking. I think they wish they had a different candidate, but it looks like they're going to ride Joe Biden to the end.
Yeah, if you're going to vote for Joe Biden at this upcoming election, you'd have to just believe that, the apparatus around Joe Biden would be enough to run the country, not Joe Biden himself, right?
Yeah, that's fair. It also raises the issue of who your vice president is. Ordinarily, 99 times out of 100, who a candidate's vice president is does not matter in this country. Yeah. I don't think it's happened in my adult lifetime. There's been a couple of circumstances historically. This might be the exception. That Kamala Harris might be an important part of this campaign where folks look and say, I don't think Joe Biden will survive the next 4 years. I think I might be voting for Kamala Harris. That might help some voters. It might hurt some others.